Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. Welcome back to my channel, my lovelies. If you've never been here before, thank you so much for clicking on my video. I am so happy you found me. I do so hope that you will like and subscribe before you leave. Become part of the Mama family. Mama's got your back, at least where makeup's concerned, and definitely when that makeup is cheap. Today we are talking about Simply Sublime summertime palettes. I really like to do a video like this come the turning of the seasons, the changing of the seasons, just because I feel like with each new season, there's kind of a mood, right? And when it comes to spring/summer, it's one of my very, very favorites. You know what? I just love everything. Winter makeup is amazing. Fall makeup is some of my absolute favorite. But summer makeup is just, now, we all know, like spring, I don't even know right now if it's technically spring or summer, but we're going to do summer palettes today, just because when it comes to spring, it's pastel, baby. I am all about the pastels all spring long, but summer is when we bring out the color, and I am so very excited. I have a ton of palettes that I want to play with today, and just kind of show you off. I do have prices for everything, so we're just going to swatch and play and explore some really fantastic palettes. Now, before we get into the video, y'all, my nails look rough. I am about to take them off and redo them, pick a new set. I would love to hear what colors you guys would like to see me have, to see me wear in the next couple of weeks. If you want to put that in the comments below, that would be so very much fun. But let's not comment on my nails. I know they look grody. I'm going to work on it. I'm going to fix it. I promise. If you are wondering what this gorgeousness on my face is today, I wanted to do something that was just a little bit more. I haven't done anything neutral all week, and you know, sometimes when I put a kind of glam neutral look on, it just makes me feel pretty, and I just wanted to feel pretty today. My hair ended up looking really nice today, so I was like, let's just go for it. Let's do a very glam moment. So I used a newer palette. We're probably going to be talking about this come New Makeup Monday next week, but I used the Technique London Pressed Pigment Palette. Y'all, this is absolutely fantastic. A couple of weeks ago, you guys heard me talk about the Marrakesh palette. Love it so much. That almost made it in today's video. It just barely got kind of cut out, but this palette is fantastic. If you are looking for cool, smoky, neutral tones, this is, and I picked it up at Burke's for like, how much was it? I think it was like $7. I mean, totally worth that time and time and time again. I have this shade right here all over my lid. It's phenomenal. It's stunning. I love it very, very much. I, of course, did do a TikTok on today's makeup look. If you are interested, I will have the link for that, the link for the TikTok in the description box below, along with all the stuff that we're going to be talking about in today's video. I do, of course, always post finished pictures over on Instagram and Facebook, and underneath both of those posts is going to be a full product list. But of course, if you guys have any questions about what I used or how I used it, all you got to do is send me a question, leave a comment, and I will get back to you. So, diving into the good part, the fun stuff of today's video. So the first palette I want to talk about is one that is fairly new to my collection, but immediately became an all-time favorite for me. This is the Juvias Place Culture Palette. Y'all, when I think about summer, there is, like I said, there's a mood, right? When it comes to summer and spring, you think about color coming back to the world, right? Everything is green and bright, flowers pop up. It just makes me want to wear color. And y'all, this palette has everything. On top of that, the shimmers in this palette are genuinely astonishing. This color right here in particular, this is, what shade is it? This is the shade, oh, which one is it? Oh my gosh, there's so many in here that are so fantastic. But I think it's this one right here. This one, I believe it is a duochrome. Yeah. Okay, so it's a duochrome from pink to green. It looks absolutely incredible on the eye. You guys can see that it looks very green on my finger, but it is indeed very pink in the pan. Absolutely stunning duochrome. All of the shimmers in here are fantabulous. This one right here, this kind of gorgeous turquoise color, is to die for. They're absolutely stunning. This palette goes for $38 full price, But Juvia's Place continuously has sales going on, so 9 times out of 10 you can find this for at least a small percentage off. Y'all, even at the $38, it's worth it. It is such a fantastic palette. You get a little bit of everything in here. I also really like how it's set up. You have rows of colors, so it's not so overwhelming, especially if you're a newbie to kind of makeup or you're intimidated by color. Looking at this palette isn't like instantly overwhelming. It's just easy to use. The formulations are gorgeous. This row of like neutral oranges is absolutely everything. You want to talk about a killer warm toned neutral look? So good. I love everything in this palette. They're all absolutely stunning. This one is another duochrome. This one shifts from like purple to blue. It's kind of like that mermaid fish scales kind of color. I mean, can you see the shift there? It's so good. Y'all, it makes me so angry how long I waited to pick up this palette, because genuinely, it is one of those palettes that I never ever want to be without. When I'm feeling kind of like stuck and uninspired, this is one of those palettes that I go to and instantly I'm just like, it's like the spark ignites and I like want my brushes start twitching and I just want to play. This is a fantastic palette. The next one I want to talk about is from Beauty Bay. And y'all, I know if you have been here for a little while, you have heard me absolutely gush about this palette. It's one of my all-time favorites. This is the Beauty Bay Brights 2.0 palette. Now, the Beauty Bay, they have a ton, this is their house brand, and they have a ton of really gorgeous palettes. The thing I like about Beauty Bay is they release them in different sizes. So you have like, I think there's 9-pan palettes, there's 16-pan palettes, and then you have the big boys, which are the 42 color palettes. I, of course, because I'm a glutton, I always go for the big boys, the 42 shade palettes. But y'all, on top of that, they have the Beauty Bay Brights palette, they have the Beauty Bay Bright Mattes palette, and they have the Beauty Bay Brights 2.0 palette. All of those are fantastic. I own all 3 of them. Actually, I picked all of these up in a bundle, and I got them for like 50% off. I loved it. I was like, oh yes, give me some. But they released this one, I think it was the end of last year, maybe the beginning of this year. I don't quite remember. But the reason I love this, first of all, the palette, the actual packaging of the palette is, I love this kind of chartreuse yellowy green color. I love how bold and kind of like primary it is. It's not even really primary, but I just love how contrasty it is. When it comes to me doing my eye makeup, contrast is one of those things that I really strive for. Contrast makes the world go round. I love it so much, and this palette is absolutely full of it. You get a gigantic, really beautiful quality mirror in here. There is a color in here for absolutely everything. It's bigger than my face. There are everything in here that you could ever need. But one of the things that I like the most about this palette is it's kind of like off colors. So it's not everything in here is just a straight up primary color. If you're looking for straight up primary colors, I highly recommend the Beauty Bay, just the Brights palettes. The Bright Mattes, if you're a matte lover like I am, is fantastic. There is a matte color in there for absolutely every occasion. Any color you could possibly need is in the Beauty Bay Bright Mattes palette. But this one is full of really gorgeous mattes and shimmers. The Beauty Bay Shimmer palette is more of a putty-like formula, but it is so incredibly pigmented. It just looks so gorgeous on the eyes. Now, it used to be my very favorite shimmer formula. It isn't anymore, but it's still absolutely fantastic. I do find that because there's such a high moisture content to the shimmers in here, I find that they can be just a little bit difficult to pick up on a brush. But once you get them onto the eye, a finger obviously does work best. But once you get them onto the eye, they are so high impact. They are so reflective. They're so gorgeous. Plus, the mattes in here are just creamy and dreamy and everything you could ever want a matte formula to be. They blend, they build, they do absolutely, they're just phenomenal. On top of that, these are really beautifully priced as well. So this one at full price goes for $35. I know sounds like quite a bit for a palette, but on the grand scale of things, y'all, I can't even talk today. on the big picture, makeup is so incredibly expensive. Like, this is actually a really great price, especially for quality and amount of product. The pans are really generously sized. It's just a great palette. But Beauty Bay has sales on their house brand continuously. And if you can get lucky and find it in a bundle, you can most of the time get it for 50% off. So if you're interested in something like this, definitely sign up to the newsletter, and they'll let you know when they have sales going on. And the next time they have a sale, jump on it. If you're looking for a big giant rainbow palette, this is for you. It is definitely my favorite rainbow palette in my collection. It's hands down. It's just, there's everything in here. Anytime I'm looking for a color and can't quite find it, I go to this one, and I always find what I need. And this color, this one right here, is just the most beautiful kind of toxic sludge green. Oh, I love it so much. This is phenomenal. Phenomenal. And it's your basic shimmer formula. There aren't any duochromes in here. There's no like special textures or anything like that. But if you're just looking for something that is like to the point, high quality, dependable, Beauty Bay's got you. Beauty Bay has got you. The next one I want to talk about is a Morphe palette. And I don't usually talk about Morphe too awful much on my channel. Not because I don't enjoy them, because contrary to popular opinion, I actually really enjoy the Morphe formula. I don't think that there's anything wrong with it. A lot of people kind of poo on the brand, and you know, I can kind of understand it. Morphe was a little bit shady a couple years ago, but their quality is actually pretty good. Some of their palettes can be hit or miss, but quite honestly, I've never tried a Morphe palette that I didn't enjoy working with. So I want to talk about this one. This is the Fierce by Nature palette. I am not a big fan of the Morphe packaging. It's plastic. It feels cheap. It's not my favorite. It's clunky. It's not easy to work with. They don't fold in half. I very much prefer cardboard packaging. But when it comes to this palette, I will make an exception just because it is so pretty. This is the Morphe Fierce by Nature. This is a $27 palette. You have tons of options in here. You have a really gorgeous pressed glitter in the center. I love that they give you these kind of bright pops of green. You've got reds, you've got oranges, you've got rusts and maroons. There's lots of really beautiful depth in here. You get super, super deep mattes and really light mattes. Great mix of both mattes and shimmers. I actually enjoy the Morphe shimmer formula. Beautifully reflective, but it goes onto the eye and it doesn't enhance texture. I moan about it all the time. I have super wrinkly eyelids. I think you can pretty much see it with this one. Though I love the color and I love the formula, it does enhance the texture on my eyelids quite a bit. And you can see just how wrinkly they are. But when it comes to the Morphe shimmers, they just don't do that. They're so reflective, but they're silky smooth. I mean, that is the most gorgeous, like unctuous, vibrant, just saturated copper. They're super thin, very easy to work with. They pick up on a brush beautifully. They work really beautifully on a slightly dampened brush. Y'all, they're just good. They're easy to work with, and I've never really had a problem with them. Now, these ones can be just a little bit, I don't want to say chalky, but they almost have kind of that feeling to them. They almost have that chalky feeling to them. It's not bad because they're beautifully pigmented, but they are a little bit powdery. You do get quite a bit of kick up in the pan, so you definitely don't need to go taking your brush and kind of digging into the pan. A gentle tap is all you need, and you will get plenty of pickup on your brush, I promise you. And again, this formula probably isn't for everybody, but I really enjoy it, and I also think it would be really easy to work with for beginners. Again, if you're just scared of color, if deeper pigments kind of scare you a little bit, trust me, I know how you feel. When I first started playing with makeup, black, I never touched it. I wouldn't touch it. It terrified me. Bright, bold, pigmented colors like this are terrifying sometimes, but these blend out beautifully because it's such a dry formula. It's very mobile. It kind of blends out. If you put too much on your eyelid, just keep blending and you will blend it away. It's easy to work with, and it's just a great formula. Again, I wish the packaging was just a little bit better, but you guys can usually get these on sale. Morphe has sales going on continuously. A lot of times palettes like this go on sale for like like 12 bucks, 11 bucks, definitely worth it at that price. 27 I think is a little bit expensive for this palette. I definitely wouldn't pay full price for it, but if you can find a palette like this on sale, definitely jump on it because it is really good, and I promise you'll get a ton of use out of it. And I really like that there's a pressed glitter in here. Again, super kind of, what is the word I'm looking for? Kind of generic textures, like there's nothing super special. There's no duochromes or, you know, fun textures to play with in here, but the metallics are gorgeous and smooth. The mattes are buttery and velvety and blend easily. It's just nice. It's a really nice palette. And if you're looking for a big, bad, warm toned neutrals, do I have makeup on my teeth? I do. I hate when that happens. Anyway, if you're looking for a big, bad neutral palette, this is a good one. The next one is one of my favorites too. I picked out some of my all of my very favorites for today's video. All of my favorite summertime palettes. So the next one is from Rude Cosmetics. And if you guys, again, have been here for a little while, you have definitely heard me talk about this palette. This is the Rude City of Neon Lights palettes. If you like neon shades, it is so, so good. So at full price, this goes for $21. Definitely worth that. Unfortunately, Rude doesn't have sales super often, but sometimes you can get lucky and find these palettes on Amazon for a much lower price. So definitely check there. I checked, I looked for it, and I didn't see it on Amazon as of when I'm filming this video, but it does pop up every once in a while. But $21 isn't too awful much for this palette, especially because it's neons. Neons are not something that's super easy to find. A lot of times when it comes to neons, you're going to get loose pigments, and those can be messy and a little bit tricky to work with. But these are really gorgeous, super, super pigmented, very bright, very vivid. They're not like boom, like one swipe kind of pigmentation. They're buildable. So again, it makes it very user-friendly. You can really customize your intensity, and they're just easy to work with. They blend beautifully. The colors in here are just gorgeous. Again, you go from super light to super deep, a nice mix of mattes and shimmers. But the thing that I like the most about this palette is it's mostly mattes, so you can really build a creamy, dreamy kind of eye look instantly with this palette. Lots of really gorgeous blues and purples. This green right here is absolutely gorgeous. It's a metallic, but it just goes on and it looks so stinking pretty. They're just nice. Really, really beautiful palette. If you're wanting to explore some neon shades, I really think that you would enjoy this one very, very much. The next one is from Ace Beauté. And Ace Beauté is one of those brands that is very sadly far outside of my price range. The only time I get to play with this brand is when I find them on sale or in the BoxyCharm drop shop. And that's what happened with this one. This palette actually goes for $50. It's $49.99 on the Ace Beauté website. It's worth it. It's worth it. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous palette. I think the packaging is, it's sublime. It really is just gorgeous. I love it so, so very much. It reminds me of summer. It just feels old-fashioned and gorgeous and gives me a sense of nostalgia for some reason. I'm not sure, but you can definitely get an idea of the color story just looking at the outer packaging. I think that's one of the things that Ace Beauté does so well, is their packaging is always just completely on point. So with this one, you get a really beautiful full-size mirror, and then this is your color story. And when I tell you, this is the most gorgeous kind of retro, it just reminds me of, like, maybe, you know, in the 70s, the 60s, and the 70s, how they did those kind of slightly off, almost muted, dingy, kind of grungy colors. This manages to be grungy and bright and sunshiny at the same time. I don't know how they did it, but you have really gorgeous pops of orange and coral, pops of purple and green. It very much reminds me of the violet palette that they released not too awful long ago. I feel like the violet palette, Violet Sage, I think it was the Violet Sage palette. I have that one as well, and it's gorgeous. It is a phenomenal palette as well. But I almost feel like the Violet Sage palette is an extension of this palette, just because the color story very much gives me the same kind of vibes, especially with these two colors right here. But the reason that I love this palette so much more is all of these really, really stunning, like mustardy, honey yellows. You've got all these really gorgeous, warm-toned kind of browns. It is a neutral palette for color lovers. There is something about this palette that just, when it goes on the eyes, it is impossible to not be beautiful. It is impossible to not make something absolutely gorgeous with this palette. You have a really beautiful, deep kind of plummy purple down here. The shimmers in here are absolutely phenomenal. This one is the one that I kind of go to every single time. It is the shade Cherry Blossom, and it is one of the prettiest, smoothest metallic pinks I think I have in my entire collection. It just goes on, and again, it's got that kind of very thin formulation, so it picks up beautifully on a brush. You don't have to sit there and scrub your brush into the pan to get some pigment off, but it goes onto the eye, and it's so flattering. It doesn't make your eyes look like they're, you know, shriveling up and turning to dust. It just goes on and brightens everything up. It brings so much light to the party. The mattes are, I mean, insane. I think Ace Beauté has probably one of my very, very favorite formulas of all time. There's just something about their mattes that they're effortless. They're completely and totally effortless. You dunk your brush in one time and it just kind of like, it's like it blends itself onto your eyelid. I don't know how it does it. And I love how rich some of the colors in this palette are. You have things that are almost ethereal in their lightness. You have colors that just kind of wisp onto the eyelid and give you this hazy kind of wash of color. But then you have these bright, deep burgundies. And this one's more of like a, it's not quite cherry. I'm not sure what color that is. It's like a very deep purpley, kind of like blood red color. But it's so vibrant and it's so rich, and it's just, but they're not scary because they go onto the lid and they diffuse so effortlessly. You don't have to, this is one of those eyeshadow formulas that you don't have to work on. You never have to worry about getting that dreaded line. You know how sometimes when you'll put eyeshadow onto your eyelid and you can't get that line to diffuse? I never have that problem with any of these shadows. They're just good. This color right here, this is the shade Orange Pansy. I mean, it's just, they're phenomenal. They're just so good. I could sit here, I mean, I could sit here and talk about this palette for 20 freaking minutes. It's phenomenal. I think that it is definitely worth the $50 price tag they're asking for it. But if you get lucky, you can find this on sale. I actually found this exact palette on Amazon for $25. So if this is a palette that you're thinking, ooh, I need that in my life, Amazon has got it for $25 right now. Go scoop it up because I promise you it is worth every cent of that price tag. So very good. We're getting into all of the super affordable options now. So the next one I want to talk about is LA Girl. So this is the LA Girl Festie Bestie palette. I adore LA Girl eyeshadow palettes. I think their formulas are fantastic. Probably, I really love Profusion, but I think LA Girl is even just a little bit better. I love their packaging. This one, it's kind of big, it's kind of clunky, but it just feels nice. You get a absolutely gigantic mirror in here. And then this is your color story. Really gorgeously, generously sized pans. There's tons of shimmers in here. So again, if you are more of a beginner in makeup, or if you just really like shimmer and shine, I think this palette is a really fantastic option. You've got really beautiful mattes, so you have plenty of mattes for transition shades, things like that. But I think where this palette really shines is with the shimmers, the metallics really, because they are so pretty. Their metallic formula is one of the easiest to pick up with a brush. It works beautifully both wet and dry, and there are different shimmer formulas in here. So you have really beautiful kind of metallic shades, but then you have this shade right here, which is a super chunky, almost kind of topper shade, and you kind of pat this. It's very, very flaky. Can you guys see that? Super flaky, but it is so pretty, just kind of tapped over just about anything. It brings a little bit of sparkle, a little bit of shine, and a little bit of iridescence to just about anything. See if I can go on. Yeah, there we go. It just looks so pretty, tapped over just about anything. It's very universal. It's a very universal shimmer. And then you have this one right here. I mean, they're just, They're just good. They're just plain pretty. I will say that these are not very travel safe at all. If you drop this, it will shatter. This packaging is not very well insulating at all. I cannot tell you how many times I have dropped a palette, an LA Girl palette like this, and absolutely busted it. The good thing about it is that they do repack, and you can kind of smush everything back in the pan pretty easily, but they do bust really easy, so you have to be gentle with it. But it's so pretty. The mattes are really, really nice. They're not like super, I mean, they're not the best quality eyeshadows ever, but they are very, very nice. At full price, this palette goes for $18, which again is a really nice price point, especially for the quality of the shadows in here. But a lot of the times, Ulta has these on sale. They go on sale for like $8, $9, $10. Definitely worth it at that. I picked this one up on sale and never regretted it. It's got great depth. You've got great pops of color in here. This purple shimmer is absolutely to die for. It's just gorgeous. And I think that this would be a super easy way to incorporate a little bit of color into your eyeshadow routine because, again, they're all shimmers. I think colorful shimmers are a lot easier to wear than colorful mattes are because you just take a little bit of a colorful shimmer and just kind of tap it all over the lid and you're good to go. Super easy to work with, super easy to blend out. They are, again, kind of very lightly pressed in here, so you definitely don't have to go digging in with your brush. A gentle tap is all you're going to need, but they work beautifully. They go into the eye effortlessly. They blend out super smoothly. I never have any problems with patching or anything like that. Really great eyeshadow formula. And then keeping in line with LA Girl, I had to mention the Foreplay the Foreplay palettes. So these come in 4 different color variations. All of them are stunning. If I had to be honest, I kind of enjoy this palette, the formulations in here a little bit more than I do in the bigger palettes. I don't know why. I feel like the shimmers in here are just a little bit, they're just a little bit more. There's a little bit more thickness to them. I'm not even exactly sure. As you can see, there's still that flaky kind of, it's almost like they're foiled. That's what it is. It is a foiled kind of texture. But y'all, it is so opaque and so richly pigmented. It just is so, so pretty. These shades can be fairly difficult to pick up with a brush, so I'm going to go ahead and advise you to use a dampened brush when you're going in to this shade. But the other shimmers in here are really beautiful. They're super smooth and metallic. They definitely don't have that flaky, crunchy, bunchy kind of texture to them. They're just really smooth and easy to use. But the color story in here is phenomenal. If you're just looking for something that's super easy to use, this is for you. This palette is $11. Definitely worth every single cent of that. You get super light to fairly deep, beautiful, rich, warm, caramelly nudes in here. They're just stunning. I like the diversity of the shimmers in here as well. You get things that are a little bit lighter, things that are a little bit darker. You get something that's a little bit more mid-toned. Plenty of transition shades, something to deepen up the outer corner. It's got everything you need. The formulas are phenomenal, and it comes in this is the shade Foreplay, but they have one that is more purpley toned. They've got one that's like cooler tones, and they have one that's more neutral, just like straight in the middle. Guys, these are phenomenal. If you're not into super big eyeshadow palettes, these ones are so good. I really enjoy the packaging as well. It's kind of plastic drugstore packaging, but it's cute. It's rose gold. It feels a little bit more elevated. These are just absolutely phenomenal. Moving on, I want to talk about this one because when it comes to summertime eyeshadow, orange and like sunset eyes are one of those things that I just feel like you have to. You cannot go an entire summer and not do, I have makeup on my teeth again, and not do like at least 20 warm toned sunset kind of eye looks. This one is so good. I do think it's egregiously overpriced, but this is the Flower Beauty Suns Blazing Palette. This is $18 at CVS.com or CVS in store. The packaging, again, it's just straight up drugstore packaging. It does include a brush in it though. The brush is not bad. It's not the best brush ever, but it is very serviceable. It will get the job done. I like the size of the brush, and I think it is a nice inclusion to the palette, especially because it's so expensive. But I want to talk about the actual colors in here. So you go from super light to really deep. You have really pretty textures in here. You have ones that are more sparkly and glittery. You have ones that are super smooth and metallic. The mattes, they are very powdery, but they're beautifully pigmented. This yellow, when I first used it, really surprised me. That is a really gorgeous, true sunny yellow. It just looks so pretty. Yeah, and it doesn't look super like ashy or chalky. Look how pigmented that is. A lot of times yellows can be really difficult to formulate because they can go on the skin and they look really chalky and ashy and just not cute. These somehow though go on and really just look beautiful because it is a much drier formula. It is effortless to use. They blend like butter. They're just easy. It's a very easy eyeshadow palette. I love the tones in here. They're just super warm and gorgeous. Lots of really pretty oranges and like rusty tones. Beautifully saturated pigmentation. And then again, when it comes to the shimmers, they're just super smooth. They're smooth and buttery, very thin, so they're easy to work with. This is a great palette. I do think it's a little bit expensive for what it is, but there's no denying that the quality is definitely there. I want to talk about another orange palette really quickly. This one is the cheapest palette in the entire video today. This is the Profusion Upbeat Orange palette. This is on sale at profusion.com right now for $3.98, so $4. Y'all, if you want it, go get it. This is a 8-pan. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is an 8-pan palette. Y'all, it's a cheap palette. It feels cheap. Like the packaging is like super thin and kind of flimsy. It's not great. The packaging is not great, but the shades inside really are. I wouldn't say that this is the most amazing orange palette ever, but it is a really nice one. You do get a nice amount of depth in here. I do think that some of the shades in here are a little bit redundant. A lot of them, these two in particular, look really similar to each other. But it just goes onto the eye. It's effortless. It's easy to use. You don't have to think about it. And it ends up looking like just a really pretty, bright, kind of orange monochromatic moment. This color is really pretty, brings a good amount of depth without kind of overshadowing the oranges in the palette. You have different kind of tones. You have oranges that are more like red toned. You have oranges that are more yellow toned. You get 2 different shimmers in here, both of which are really pretty. You get a deeper orange shimmer and then a lighter golden shimmer. It's just a really nice palette. Super easy to do if you're just wanting a like very quick orange eye. This will do it for you. And at $4, you can't beat it. Love it so much. I want to talk about a couple of Colourpop palettes really quickly. Both of these are not available at the moment. I think that there's discontinued. But as Colourpop always does, they brought back the same palette, just named it something else. So the first one is Little Ray of Sunshine. Again, yellow is one of those colors that I just associate with summer. Yellow eyes are just, oh, I love a bright pop of yellow on the eye. It just kind of, it holds your attention. It's interesting. It's beautiful. And this one is just so pretty. The new version of this is called Honey. They're $14 a piece and they're phenomenal. Colourpop, their formulations don't really change. They're just good. They're dependable. They're great quality. $14, and on top of that, these things go on sale all the time. So this is a really fantastic palette. I love this because you have different tones. So you have this really gorgeous mustardy yellow right in the center, but then you have ones that are a little bit softer, a little bit more a little cooler toned. This one in particular is such an interesting yellow color. It is like pastel, but there's a little bit of like a cooler undertone to it that just translates onto the eye. So soft and feminine and almost romantic. It's gorgeous. I love this palette very much. $14. The new one is named Honey. If you like yellow, you need it in your collection. The next one is Main Squeeze. And this one is a super old palette. I've had it for absolutely ever. It's another one of the Colourpop monochromatic palettes. I think the new version of this is, oh, I don't even remember, but I know that they have something that is very similar to this. Main Squeeze, I think Main Squeeze is still on the website. Again, it's $14, and this one is just, think strawberry watermelon surprise. It's just really pretty. The tones in here are really fun. They go onto the eye, and they still translate as red, but sometimes when you put red on your eyes, it can make you look a little bit sickly. These don't do that. I think there's something to do with the undertones that somehow go on the eye, and they do lean a little bit more pink than red, but that's okay because they just go on and they look so super, super pretty. You get a great amount of depth in this palette. This deeper shade is really perfect for just kind of deepening up the outer corner. You get this middle row of shimmers. You have something light, a little bit kind of mid-toned, and something a little bit deeper. It's just a really great palette. I do think, unfortunately, this one is out of stock on the website, so I don't know if they're going to restock it or not, but you can find these on Amazon and things like that at more affordable prices as well. Just this general kind of color story. If you see something like this, I think it's perfect for summer. And then kind of like a different option for that palette is the Morphe 9-pan palettes. So I don't hear a lot of people talk about these, but I do think that they're really, really nice. I actually enjoy the formula in here even more than the big palette that I showed you earlier, the Fierce by Nature palette. These ones are, they just feel like better quality. So you get 9 pans in here, and they're just stunning. It's pink and orange, this bright pop of neon. That kind of neon chartreusey yellow green is so, so pretty. I think the shimmers in here are gorgeous. They're, again, that super reflective but very smooth kind of formulation. They're just really, really pretty. I love the tones in here. This bright orange and this bright yellow. Let me see if I can swatch it. Yeah. I mean, it is so vivid and so bright, but it manages to be nice and neon without looking chalky or ashy. It's just beautiful. These things go for $13. This one actually is on sale at XOXO for $13. $13? Right now, so if you like it, go pick it up. But a lot of times it does go on sale cheaper on the Morphe website if you want to wait. I think these are really, really nice. I love that shade right there. It's just absolutely everything. You also have a really beautiful kind of like light baby pink shimmer in here that's really, really stunning. I like this because it's mostly mattes. You also have kind of a golden champagne shimmer as well. It's just pretty. Super, super easy. You don't have to think too much about it. And it's just good. It's just good quality. And then last but not least, I wanted to talk about the 9M, the Melon Pop. And the reason I like this one is just because I love the color story. This one is watermelon through and through. I love the kind of greens in here. And then you have pink and red. Lots of really beautiful shimmers. You got lots of deep kind of, you have a black and then a very deep brown. So you have liners, like a liner situation. These are just pretty. These two shimmers are phenomenal. This one right here, it's like a mermaid tail. Mermaid tail, fish scales. This one is just like a really beautiful kind of leafy green. Oh, they're just pretty. They're just pretty. You have a true red and like a kind of hot pink situation. This is a very, very pretty palette. And again, just super simple, easy to use. It gets the, it's a mood, right? You think watermelon when you see it, and then it translates watermelon on the eye. It's easy. You don't have to put too much thought into it. Guys, that is it for me today. I hope that today's video was helpful to you in some small way. I hope you found it even mildly entertaining. Y'all, I keep tripping over my words, like my tongue just does not want to do what I want it to do today. I hope that it didn't irritate you too awful much. As always, I will list everything I talked about in today's video in the description box below. No filters, no edits, no fancy lighting. It's just me sitting in front of my camera, playing with some makeup, hoping you guys are enjoying what I'm doing. I will, of course, have all of the tags to all of my other social medias, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all that good stuff in the description box as well. If you're not following me everywhere, why not? I post fun content every single day, and if you're following me everywhere, you don't have to worry about missing a single moment of it. Until next time, stay safe, take care of yourselves, and remember, you're important. Bye.